Welcome to the Hold the Line podcast, where you get news, information, and connection to the community of gaming. Today we're going to discuss the idea of fundraising in gaming, and here with me is Rob Primo, Fab Hepburn, and Matthew Cross. So let's begin, and this is Hold the Line.
Hold the line. We are Hold the Line.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Glad to be here.
So we're going to begin with a somewhat sad topic and then move on to something happier, because I like to go like that. Matthew, people may know you as Dark One, I think 477 from Hold the Line. And I don't know if the general Hold the Line community knows this, but you are going to be stepping away a little bit and taking a break from Hold the Line and have invested yourself in something new and exciting with Rob and Fab here. So first, let's talk about, I guess, your time at Hold the Line, just anything brief you want to say, and then what you've gotten yourself into now.
Basically, I really just enjoyed my time at HTL. I spent a good 2 years working on the site and getting it hopefully to a good spot. It's in really good hands now, I think, with Vernon taking over my responsibilities, partially. As some might not have known, I wore many, many hats for the site, but overall, I think the site's in a good spot. Can't wait to see some of the editorial content. I know some of the guys had some really good stuff that they were working on. Always love Vega Goose's rants and raves. How many fucks can you say in 8 minutes?
A lot, apparently. And I'm glad this is 18 plus podcast.
I was going to say, apparently for him, it's 43.
It's a sensitive choice. You can't really fault him for that one.
No, you can, but so like I said, I'm glad to see the site grow and see where it goes. As far as where I'm heading, basically, I took my responsibilities to where we're going now, and the topic of actually this discussion. So, which led to Rob and Fab for the most part.
Okay, and how did you guys meet? How did you meet them, Matt, and then we'll go into their history?
AJSA, the Angry Show Army, or the Angry Army as it is abbreviated. Just a forum member, and wanted to do something different, and that's kind of that's really all there is to it. There's really no long story to it, really. A bunch of forum members got together and started doing the thing for a cause.
I saw you were covered on the Angry Joe Show and Game War, I think you said, GameWar.com. Mm-hmm. So do you guys originate from the Angry Joe Show? How did you guys meet Rob and Fab and the other four of you?
Well, I guess the way we met, I met Matthew through because when the AJSA relaunched, it was based on the old community, and I was somewhat a part-time, member contributor to that old community. And when it relaunched, a lot of us got really excited, and it really got a lot of people together of the kind of mind where you'd want to kind of take together and harness the kind of potential and creative potential of a new community and see what could be done of it. And that's how Matt and I met, and Fab and I met as well through that, just gaming together. We kind of. Everyone just kind of heads went up and said, oh, hey, there's a relaunch going on over here. It looks really interesting. A lot of energy being pulled in, a lot of promotion getting done, a lot of momentum there. So a lot of people kind of just went to go and take a look, to see what was going on. And through that relaunch, that's where all of us pretty much got to know each other. You know, and the project just kind of grew from that association and the discussions and that interaction.
Gotcha. Nice. All right. So, 7 guys. I'm going to count you as one now, Matt. How did you come up with this name? Because every time I hear it, I have to tell you, I'm saying Game of Throners.
Oh, God.
I am saying Game of Throners in my head. I'm sure that this must happen. But the Gameathoners, I mean, it seems kind of obvious, but kind of, you know, creative. And your graphics and other things they've used to design are really well done. Who's handling that stuff?
You want to go?
Okay, sure. We have a cool artist friend of the AJSA. Her handle is Scout, and she's an artist on her own time, and she handled doing all the faces and stuff.
Regina
and then,
Radcliffe.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Nice.
yeah, and then I just handled the rest of it. Basically, basically all the artwork is Scout and then me, and we did all the stuff for it. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and the name came about because when we were designing the working with the whole concept of the of what we wanted to do, a bunch of us, you know, went our own way and came up with names. And it's a name while I was doing my day job, I was thinking about, oh, well, what could work, and I'm thinking, oh, Gameathoners sounds pretty good. It's maybe a little cheesy, but it actually sounds really cool. And then, you know, talk to the guys, I'm like, yeah, that works. And people are like, hey, that sounds like Game of Throners, you know, it's not awesome, you know, if they Google, you know, Game of Thrones and they if they mispronounce it or misspell it, it'll come to our site, and that's great.
New marketing ploy.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, great for SEO.
Yeah, exactly. New SEO. We'll just work off misspellings.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah.
Well, you know, that's also a valid way of getting
Yeah,
it.
see, there you go. See, advanced.
Yes. So for your first event, you have Chivalry, Medieval Warfare, Deadliest Warrior, Payday 2, Smite, Castle Crashers, Team Fortress, BF4, and more.
Yeah.
That's a lot of games. And this is a 25-hour event. So what was your favorite game? And did you have experience playing all these games before, or was this your first time in any of them?
I think the game we probably enjoyed playing the most was Chivalry Deadliest Warrior, right?
I really enjoyed Sniper Elite though. Like
That was
I
fun,
had
yeah.
so much fun in that game, and then I also had tons of fun in Smite.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean, I played most of the games prior, and number one, 25 hours is a lot of time to fill. So we just made the game list ridiculous, and then tried to fit them all in. And it actually worked out to keep it kind of eventful throughout, so we weren't just sitting on the same game for 8 hours. But definitely some games extended for longer and some shorter. But I had experience with most of the games. I'd probably say I had the experience with I had experience with the most games out of our little group, only because there were a couple 4-in-1s to everybody, but still I had so much fun. Like I had to learn Sniper Elite, Nazi Zombie Army too. I had to play that one for the first time. I had tons and tons of fun.
Yeah. So
Go ahead.
yeah, for the rest of us, a lot of us didn't really. You know, we basically touched maybe a few of those games, and a lot of it was just kind of a surprise, you know, beyond maybe setting resolutions and just making sure the game runs. All the content we're really, you know, no one had that high level of experience other than maybe a few guys, so
Yeah.
it made it kind of interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of these games most of them are first-person shooters and actually online games as well. Did you have people stalking you down by your handle because you're streaming and wanting to play with you while you're doing this? Did anyone seek you out in the games?
Oh my god. Okay, so when we were playing Chivalry, I think people banded together to purposely, like, I had a buddy of mine come in, and he was, like, trying to team kill me. Like, he just came in to team kill me. It's like, why? Really, dude? So Chivalry, we had a couple people coming out. Battlefield 4, we had a couple people coming out. TF2, we got a couple other people to join in with us, because it was, like, small group play and stuff like that. So, yeah, we definitely had people that were interested in playing with us. And I think as far as, like, the FPS and game thing goes, I didn't really realize... Like, a lot of, somebody, like, Matt brought it up afterwards. He's like, you had a lot of first-person games. It's like, oh, I never really clicked, you know what I mean? We had, like, so many shooting games. And then Chivalry's, like, also kind of first-person. Well, it is first-person, but it's also kind of a shooting game as well. But I think the next one's going to be a little bit more varied. We might throw in an RTS. But as far as, like, the game selection went, I had tons and tons of fun. I thought it went well.
It can go either way with that kind of thing, because I think maybe after 2 or 3 hours of a first-person shooter, you can either just be like, okay, that's so much shooting, I need to just, rest my eyes from tracking and things like that, or you can just rage quit, because that's a lot of strategy and dying over and over and things like that. How did you keep a good attitude without getting frustrated? Live, by the way, on TV.
Yeah, that helps a lot. The fact that you are aware it's not just you and a couple of buddies playing. You're being watched, and it is for a cause. And so, the whole you try and keep it on the light end of it, and it just really just erases itself. The competitive angle of it just kind of disappears. At least in my experience of doing it, it's more a matter of just having fun and enjoying. I'll admit that towards when we were playing Smite, I think for the second time, and I think we were about 22 hours in at this point, and I was struggling to just not get crazy, just because the character I had was doing so poorly, and you're not thinking of the game, and you're like,
the support. Would you get the support character like 14 times? And you're like, no, I don't want.
Yeah, the healer, and I'm like, oh my god,
I can't do anything. Stop giving it to me.
I know.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's like a bigger cause. You know what I mean? So I think we kind of removed ourselves from all the rage and whatever. Definitely tiredness, and that kind of set in. There were points where I was like legitimately frustrated, but then I'd immediately erase it and just start having fun again. So I think it was, I don't know, the group aspect as well as the environment. It kind of helped guide that along.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you've got a lot of things going on. You've got the Twitch chat going on. You've got the moderators feeding information back and forth. You're paying attention to, the donations coming in. So there's a lot of other things you're occupied with.
You don't have time to get frustrated sometimes.
Yeah, well, you don't have time to get too involved in what it is you're doing, because you've got all these things on the side as well. So that helps to kind of check your natural tendency to want to, yeah.
Yes. Well, let's focus on the important aspect of the raising funds and the purpose, I guess, of this marathon. So you decided to do a 25-hour gaming marathon. How did you come up with this idea, and especially how did you pick the SickKids Foundation via ChildsPlay as the target of what you're trying to raise, the objective, what you're raising money for?
The first wind that I got of it was from Matthew, who on the forums, there was a person who suggested that maybe some elements within the AJSA do that, and he brought it up to a certain section of the forum, and we read it and we talked about it, and it kind of got put on the back burner. And then I was playing a game, I think I was playing Battlefield with Fab one day, and Fab will get back into that later, but he has a special circumstance in which we were discussing it, and he said, other than loving broccoli and celery, of course, high fiber diet, him and I were talking, and he threw the idea, well, what if we did something for charity? I'm thinking, well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was talking about it with some other guy and this other thing, and I mean, why don't we just do something like that? So it started from, it took root, in that interaction. We talked about it and ended up building a team around wanting to achieve that. Now, the Child's Play, part of it came up because that was part of like the original type of idea, and the flexibility of being able to work through Child's Play, just because that they have, they
have the resources we don't have yet, basically.
Exactly, and you can still get the objective achieved without having to put all the work into building something on your, by yourself.
Registering your own charity or anything like that. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the SickKids, that was kind of Fab's. That's where it came up from. So
it hits kind of hard for me as well, like to choose SickKids in Toronto. But you know what I mean? Now that I really think about it, the whole idea of the charity is awfully serendipitous, because so I'm really new to the AJSA. Like, I only met Rob a few months ago, and he had this long history with Matt and the other AJSA and the one prior, the community we're in anyways. Like, there was this predecessor to the one that I joined, and they knew each other from way back then. But I just recently joined, and the reason that I had brought up the whole charity thing is because I was already I wanted to do a charity a couple months back in my own life, which was completely separate from Rob and the AJSA. And then when I came to this community, after I finished playing Dota 2, when I came to this community, I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll revive that idea with a couple of the new people I met. And then they were like, holy crap, we were thinking of that same idea. Let's do it. So yeah, it just kind of fell into place.
And it's funny the way it clicked, because when Fab and I started talking about it and getting guys into it, and when when Matthew came on board as well, everything was just clicking so well, and things were getting done with you didn't have that kind of hassle you usually get when you're trying to build a project up, and you have to run after people and you have to follow up and all these things. Things were just happening, and people were throwing a lot of resources and energy at this, and it just happened. I mean, it wasn't easy. A lot of work was involved, but it wasn't a chore to get people on board and want to contribute. So that was, I think, one of the reasons we ended up being able to pull this off with such a short and restricted.
Notice,
The time frame was ridiculous.
It's a blessing having proactive people. I mean, obviously it's a really good cause. I shouldn't expect less from people, but the internet is has a reputation of people being like people disappearing off the earth or having excuses or going 90% of the way and then falling off. And I've had a history with that. And the reason SickKids anyways is because I was in Baltimore and I got cancer, I guess. Really random cancer called acute promyelocytic leukemia, and it's basically you get it like the common cold, and only like 50 people in Canada and North America get it per year, just randomly. Has no genetic, no environmental, anything. It just kind of gives it to you. Wow. And I spent a lot of time as an inpatient in Baltimore, in Johns Hopkins. Shout out to them, they're badass. And I'm a Canadian, right? So I spent a whole month in Baltimore and in the American health system, and they did a fantastic job. Obviously, I'm in remission now, totally cured and all that. But during my inpatient status, it was really noticeable, like the necessity for entertainment. Just because your mind wanders, and that's what you don't want to happen. You got to keep a good attitude and stuff. And I didn't have any video games to play for a long time, and then I ended up picking up a laptop, and it was Windows 8 and completely formatted that way, and I couldn't play anything. And a couple of my old Dota teammates who I was staying with in Baltimore when I got the cancer, because I had moved out there for it, they did a good job. They reformatted it they put it on Windows 7 so I could actually use it because Windows 8 blows.
Yes.
And they loaded up with a couple games, and honestly, it kept me busy for a while. Obviously, I was super out of it because of all the drugs they gave me, but for the few moments I did have, I played a lot of FTL and a lot of anti-chamber and some other stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I really realized the importance of keeping your mind busy, and so I couldn't even imagine what it would be like for those kids as inpatients. So I had spent a lot of time also in Toronto. After I finished the month, I came back for Toronto, and I'm just finishing it up. But I had spent another 2 months working in Toronto with their health system. And SickKids is right around where I'm at, and it's such a great hospital. Like, they do so much work, and I had a cousin that was there when I was a child as well. So yeah, I really respect them. So it just seemed like the natural thing to do, After I've been in that experience, after I completely understand, I really wanted to do charity work once I was able to get up and running. Mm-hmm. And I showed up at AJSA. I said, let's do it for SickKids. Rob and Matt were like, let's do this. And that was the end of it. And we just went from there. So basically in a month, we put this together. Well, mm-hmm. I'm going to say substantially less than a month, but let's say 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks. We put it all together, and that was all through the hard work of everybody. If we had one person slacking, it would have completely let us down, but everybody kicked ass. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was going to say, even 2 weeks is being generous.
Yeah, I mean, it was down to the wire.
Well, the promotion end of it was only 2 days. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. What happened was essentially Fab was going through his last round of chemo and was in the middle of moving as well, and getting his stuff connected. And so meanwhile, we had all the sites.
Holiday season too.
On top of it as well. So we had all this stuff going on, and at the same time, we wanted to promote it, but we're thinking, well, you can't promote it unless you have something to show for it. And we didn't have much to show for it. And the artwork was done, but wasn't really put together. And I think it was on the 1st, at 5 p.m. on the 1st of January,
I showed up.
Well, no, you showed up the day after that, but then all the guys were like, okay, well, I'm like, well, let's just promote it, let's do it, and made some draft artwork. And then the next day, Fab showed up. I took a day off of work, and we spent probably
12 hours just doing everything.
15. We did everything.
Completely revamping Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, getting that YouTube stuff fixed, everything. Yeah. And Matt worked his ass off. Holy crap. He tweeted like 100 times.
Twitter spam. It was all Twitter spam.
100 Twitter spams in 2 days. I mean, we literally had 2 days to promote this because it's such a good cause and we couldn't let it go to waste. And we ended up raising a bunch of money. So I'm super happy, and the future is just going to be, even better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Twitter. Oh my!
It's like you want to make a formal apology to all the spam.
I made the formal apology for the copy and paste to about the 100 different people that I sent the same message to.
Too funny.
Unfortunately, it was one of those, you have to make the biggest amount of noise in the least amount of time, so you bug the biggest people that you know. Yeah. And I really do want to thank, the Frag Dolls and a bunch of the other people that we got retweeted and stuff just to get the word out. Game More was another one. Gray Area, obviously.
But just everybody that retweeted it and Facebook likes that.
Just for the likes and the retweets and stuff, it really helped out. Really appreciated. It's not an easy thing to do to try to push off that kind of that social media thing in 2 days. So,
well, considering you only had 2 days and your aim was $3,000, you did a third of it, right? What was your final total on that?
So I think our final total was like 1,400. But we found out something from ChildsPlay. Yeah, but we found out something from ChildsPlay that apparently there's another 20 donations that are unaccounted for, and they're pretty sure that they're ours, and they're just hashing that out on their end. So we can hope for more. But As far as we're officially concerned, it's a little less than half. Yeah.
And that's not too bad for 2 days.
Not too bad for a first event. Yeah, some people were saying it was pretty crazy aiming that high, and we still pulled off something great.
Yeah. So 25 hours. What was the choice behind the hour?
More than a day.
More than a day.
More than a day. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we kicked around the idea of 25, and kicked around the idea of a 32, and then we figured, well, let's start with 25, and if things go really well, we might push it. And then,
but I know the official reason why we chose 25. I think you forgot, Rob, because I forgot too. Remember when we were choosing between Child's Play and that other organization? I forget what it's called. The other
yep,
thing.
I remember. Yep.
They had a prerequisite of 25 hours, remember? And so we said, let's do 25 hours. Then we went through the whole thing, and they're like, you can only do it on this day. And it was like, already had passed, so we just made the swap with the Child's Play, but we already had 25 hours set as a thing.
I guess that's where it came from, yeah.
But man, that was those 25 hours.
Oh my god, that was
oh god.
I thought it would be.
Well, I think obviously we came back in the last 5 or 6. It really just kicked back, and we're like, oh, welcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing is, we were up. I know Fab was up at 8 o'clock in the morning that same day to deal with a techie to get his internet fixed, and I was up at like 10 a.m. and we had all this stuff. We're building backup plans for the broadcast, which we did end up using. So by the end of the event and all together, we'd been up. I think over 40 hours easy. That we'd been up just working at it, and
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
You're like,
just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for those that don't know, I fit in well with this group because I don't sleep. So
we all know that. I think
anyone that knows the insomniac.
Exactly.
It's overrated. the sleep or the insomnia, it's overrated.
Now you had 21 prizes to give out to people who donated and various people on Twitch. How did you determine how to do that, and where did you get these? Were these donations? The 21 prizes?
Yeah, most of them were donations. Luckily, we have somebody on which will trust fund baby, I guess, as part of the Thegameathoners. Nick, he was doing the 25 hours with us. He gave us a bunch as well. He gave us like 8 games, and then a lot of them were donated and stuff. And Matthew did as well, and so people had accumulated the games list. I think we spent most of the month working on that.
Yeah, that's a lot of games to own, so you can mutually.
It's actually pretty fantastic, though, because now we have a bunch of games to give away for the next one, too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And we also had, not even just for donations, just for because some people aren't, some people who did tune in to watch the stream weren't necessarily, not everyone set up with PayPal and all these things, but they still participate, in the chat, and they still watch, and they tell their friends to watch and stuff. So we came up with some trivia questions as well to include the audience and at least give them an opportunity to, participate and, walk away with something, which they did. I think we gave away in all 6 prizes to people who were watching. Yep. So it's also fun as well.
We gave them away every break, I believe, is what we were doing.
Every break we had a trivia question. So people got prizes even if they couldn't donate, but we definitely appreciated all the donations.
It was really well attended, I thought. I mean, throughout the entire thing, you had roughly like 25, and then it would jump up to 50 or more or whatever. But you always had kind of a base level people there for pretty much the entire thing.
I think if we had a couple things fall into place, I'm not going to name names or anything, but if we did, it would have been even bigger because it's definitely a cause that needed to be bigger. Yeah. And there was one thing I guess that was kind of on our end. We should have got something to work out with Twitch, where typically they feature charities. But they want a heads up, and we only gave them a 2-day heads up, and then I guess it didn't work out. But I mean, like I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword when I make comments at the charity. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, it could have been better because, like, let's be honest, we raised money that was more than there ever was prior. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always a fantastic cause. Anything we got, if we did it and we got $7, it would have been fantastic. But irrespectively, I think we could have just done better. You know what I mean?
Well, the first time out, you're always going to have a lot of bumps and snags and things, and it's almost better to have it not quite as public, so you can figure that out for the next one and then have the audience.
Yeah. I think you were talking about viewership a moment ago. I think on average, we had about 30, between 30, 32, 35 consistently. It would drop down to 28 and sometimes go above, and I think the lowest point we had was about 3 in the morning. Yeah, we had about 12, 15. That was a low point. But all in all, I think we had about 1,300 unique views during the event, ish. So in itself, which is awesome,
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it was about 2 or 3 a.m. our time, Eastern Standard Time, that was the lowest.
Yeah.
Well, most of the people from...
They did this thing called sleep, Matthew. You may recognize it. It's more than 2 hours.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
What is this sleep you speak of?
Sleep. It is overrated.
Sleep, you say?
Then again, so isn't the insomnia end of things, but that's another story. I think at the lowest point it was like 12 to 15 that we had, but that's because most of our audience was North American time. So, but it was a good, solid, 25, 30 people that we usually had on average. So it was good to see that.
Yeah, it was interesting as well because you had all the North American crowd that'd be watching, and when they tune off, when they go to bed or do whatever, you had all the European people who were getting up, or who were in the middle of their day, and so they're tuning in fresh, and then so you're reminded that you want to keep the energy levels up, and you want to keep things entertaining, you want to keep things going because to people in Canada, the U.S., or anybody watching it on the west on the Western Hemisphere, they know you've been up for 15, 12, 16, 17 hours, and then the people coming up in Europe, well, they're just tuning in, and that's kind of like the other challenge where you want to have kind of like you want to remotivate yourself and reinvigorate yourself to keep things on a high energy level and keep the pace up, to keep it interesting for the viewers to watch, and then have them want to watch more of it and contribute and donate.
Yep.
You almost should have a counter. Did you have a counter? Because I didn't see one on the stream, so people know hour 18 and a half.
Yeah.
When they first tune in.
We were toying around with that idea, but the problem is OBS, Open Broadcaster, the program we were using to stream, it has a tendency to hate. It doesn't have a built-in timer, let alone. So you're going to need a GIF that counts to forever, and it tends to hate that. So no, we didn't. It would be cool though. It'd be nice to have.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Things to work out for the next event.
Right, exactly. It's all just on the docket for the next event if we can hash that out.
Mm-hmm.
So, what was your favorite moment?
Oh boy, I know what my favorite moment was.
Okay, Rob, you go first.
My favorite moment was when it wasn't necessarily during the event, but we had this thing figured out for when we hit the $500 donation mark that we were all going to wear masks for an hour. It started up being 2 hours, and then when I saw how uncomfortable and how difficult it was for guys to play, we figured, an hour is probably good enough.
Yeah, and it was. It was. Let me tell you.
Fab bought a Minecraft
creeper mask,
yeah, like a big box.
The big box.
I couldn't even see.
I couldn't. No, to
No,
answer
he
your
couldn't.
question, no, I couldn't see.
I
I had it tilted, looking through one eye hole with both eyes. But like, it wasn't. You couldn't tell though. Like, you couldn't tell that I had it tilted. I don't know why, because it must have been such a slight tilt, and the box is so big. So I had it like tilted back, and I'm looking through, and my headset's like, it's like propped up on the band of my headphones, so it's like flying everywhere, and I'm holding up with my shoulders. Horrific. Horrific.
Did you tape it to your head?
Did I duct tape it to my head? I was contemplating.
Yeah, okay.
I was going to, but I didn't, because that would have hurt more than the box. Oh, and the box was like, I have no hair, by the way, for those who don't know. I have really, really short hair, so the cardboard was like cutting into my scalp. It was so bad.
Yeah,
dude.
seeing that level of discomfort on that, it was so funny. That was.
Oh yeah,
and everyone, that was just my favorite moment when we had to wear all those masks, and then you had Nick come in with his he had like a ninja, he had a T-shirt he wrapped around his face like a ninja mask. He had the most comfortable setup. He's like, "Well, guys, my beard's itching." Like, are you kidding me?
I have an itching beard. I have a bleeding scalp. I can't.
Everyone's favorite moment is Fab's pain.
Yeah, evidently, masochist or not, sadist. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I think my favorite moment was during that when someone had made the suggestion of wearing the mask longer for more donations or something.
Yeah.
You guys were just like, no, not happening.
That man.
Yeah, that was too funny.
Pat?
I think I had tons of fun in Sniper Elite. Like, I can't get over it because there were so many times. Oh no! I don't know. I'm redoing it. Okay. My favorite moment was when we were playing Smite and I was the only person left. You know what I mean? And I think we were Spartans or something like that. And we were
playing Chivalry.
Yeah. Or what did I say? Smite? I meant Chivalry. We were Spartans, and then we were fighting on that like marble map. You know what I mean? And it was that multi-team deathmatch or multi-team last standing. And I killed one guy, killed the next guy, and then meanwhile you're cheering me on, Rob. Like, you're going ham in Skype, and I'm like, yeah, I could do this. I turn the corner and there's 14 samurai, and I go, oh! Long story short, I lost. So sad. But that moment, it was hilarious. But there were so many moments. Like, it happened so many times. It was just fantastic. So I don't know. I think that's equal with a bunch of other ones, but that was definitely one of the ones that stood out.
Let's go back to the community for the Angry Joe show. You're throwing some acronyms that I don't know. Tell me about I guess it's HAGS. What was the ones you're throwing?
AJSA. So it's Angry Joe Show Army.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it's a community.
Nice.
Basically, it's just for those that don't know, Angry Joe is a YouTuber who does reviews and critiques the industry. Very swear vulgarity laden, but he does it. He's honest to a fault sometimes.
And keeps it interesting.
Yeah, keeps it interesting. The best way to describe it is AJSA is like his followers that are like hardcore. They really enjoy what he does and what he brings to the industry. That's kind of a sum up of what AJSA is. It's his followers and people that follow him in various games that he may be playing, like PlanetSide 2 or what the hell's the next one? SOTOR, I believe we're going back to apparently, or just
yeah, there's a bunch of games, but yeah, so it's just his community. But I mean, we've made a note that we want to like. Thegameathoners obviously exists outside of that community, but we're always going to have kind of that like appreciation that's where we met, and you know what I mean?
It wouldn't have been had it not been for that community and
to that team speak that day.
Yeah, well, it's true, and you got and even Scout, who'd been involved there for a long time, Regina Ratliff, and we all came from there. That's all where we started meeting and networking together, and so for that, you got to give a shout out to those guys and the people working within that community, and thank them for doing that, because it never would have happened otherwise. And from now, like Fab mentioned, it exists outside of all that, and it's something that I hope will include a wide range of different communities, gaming communities, and people within the gaming industry, to be able to show exactly some of the positive things that can be done within that community, with all the negative press and all the craziness going around. about gamers and gaming and all these connotations that are floating around. It serves to just prove that guys can get together and play all kinds of games and have fun doing it, and help affect positive change in the real world for people who need it. That's the end state.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think you're going to continue to have the SickKids Foundation as the next objective foundation that you're going to contribute to, or are you going to switch different ones? What's your plan for the upcoming events?
Well, initially we planned on having at least 3 for ChildsPlay because the whole gaming community spans Canada and the States and Europe and other countries as well. But those are kind of like the main targets. And the neat thing with ChildsPlay is that they you can raise money for foundations and hospitals that span all those continents and countries. So we wanted to do the first one for Canadian Foundation, and then we're committed to doing 2 more, one for a U.S. hospital foundation and a European one in the future. And that's just for starters. That's just to get started. Yeah. And after that, we're gonna
the world's our oyster.
Well, pretty much. There's a lot of causes, a lot there, a lot of hospitals and foundations that could definitely use a boost from it. But I was going to say we might redefine ourselves after this 3rd event. But for these first 3, we're pretty much locked in and covering a U.S. hospital or a U.S. foundation and an EU hospital or EU foundation that we feel is awesome. I mean, they're all awesome, but you know what I mean? Like something that we would like to do. Mm-hmm. But after that 3rd event, obviously the next one's going to have a lot more organization, I want to say. And so will the 3rd one, but then after that one, we might reevaluate ourselves. We're definitely going to stay as the Thegameathoners. It's something we're going to continue to do. But it might be a different medium and stuff like that, and we'll bring that up in the future.
Gotcha. Yeah. Are you going to have the same people on all of them? And then you guys have an unreal amount of moderators, I gotta say. The ratio of moderators to viewers. You mean
awesome moderators?
Yeah. Definitely well moderated.
Yeah. We're gonna see. We have a big group, and I know a lot of people or a few people actually. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. We don't have a lot of people. Out of the few people we have, some of them are itching to get on to the next one. So we might shuffle them around, and there might be a couple roster changes here and there. And some people wanted to do it as a one-time deal, and that's totally respectable and stuff like that. So I know that there's obviously me, Rob, and Matt are going to stick around through this forever. Or I shouldn't say forever, but you know what I mean. Like this is going to go for as long as we can, and that's going to stay stagnant. But as far as some other people, yeah, we might switch it out for the next one, basically.
Is it a requirement that the same person does all 25 hours, or would you switch it in and out with people so people would do 8 hours since or something?
That's probably the sane thing to do.
Just wondering.
But I don't know. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed doing 25 hours, as ridiculous as that sounds. And I think everybody else did as well. So I don't know. It's something we'll definitely think about. I mean.
Yeah, for doing, I think the 4 gamers actually involved it's a tall order, but it's also, I mean, switching out the moderators is understandable, because it's a lot more passive. It's less, it's not the same as being really in game and doing stuff. But I like the idea of having the same people being in it for the long haul, and really digging. Well, quote unquote, digging to the extent that it's deep, but just digging in and trying to push yourself because it's very challenging, Mm-hmm. So the idea, if we're doing, I mean, maybe not for a 25-hour one, but if we end up doing maybe a 36 or a 38 or something a lot longer, we might be able to, work something like that in for the future. I think it's possible, and you want to stay realistic as well because, it is very demanding to try and carry on a show for all that amount of time and keep it going, I mean, we found that out.
Yeah, we did. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, if there's a necessity that somebody feels that they might want to swap out, then yeah. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't want to, and I don't think Rob wants to. And
no way.
If the other 2 people that are going to be in the next one choose not to, then I guess not. But if they bring up valid points, they're like, I don't know if I could do the whole one, then we're just be like, yeah, sure, we'll swap out. No big deal.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Do you have plans for the second one? Anything solid and concrete that you want to share? Have you picked out any games or anything?
I mean, it's kind of up in the air right now. I definitely can tell you that it's in April. It's going to be in April for sure.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't know. We're still kind of in the like the recovery part of the first event. We're still trying to figure out some of the numbers and make a few adjustments here and there and talk to everybody and see how they feel and all that and make sure everybody got their prizes and You know, again, we're talking to ChildsPlay about those hidden 20 donations, those mysterious ones. So we're kind of in the recovery portion of it, but I do want to say, again, April, you can expect the next one. But as far as all the other details,
probably late April.
Yeah, probably late April. But
yeah, watch out for
as far as
packs.
the other, yeah.
It's also fair to say that the game list is probably going to be a lot more varied. Instead of going for 3-hour blocks, we'll probably cut it down to smaller chunks with more games and more variety as well, just to keep things mixed and interesting. As for the actual for what the objective, the targeted foundation or hospital is going to be, we still haven't sorted that out yet. But yeah, there's going to be difference on that. There's going to be probably in terms of there'll be a lot more bells and whistles added for the next one, given that we'll have a lot more time, and hopefully there'll be a lot more people and a lot more noise created around that, given that we'll have so much time to prepare for it. Yeah. So it's going to be hopefully bigger, better, well greased, So
excellent. Okay.
And yeah.
Anything else you guys want to add as we wrap up here? Where can people find you? Important to know if they want to find out updates and things.
Where can they find us, Pat?
Well, you can find us at facebook.com/TheGameathoners, also twitter.com/TheGameathoners, youtube.com/TheGameathoners.
Or at www.gameathoners.com, where you have all that neat Gucci information up that you guys can follow us, and please do.
Follow us everywhere. Matthew Cross is awesome. You can follow him. You can talk to him, dude. Go to Twitter. Talk to Matt.
You can talk to him 24/7.
Harass him. Keep him busy. He doesn't need to sleep. But we're on all the normal outlets: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We have our own site coming up now. And did I miss anything? Facebook, Twitter, thing.
No, just expect some content between here and our next event. We'll probably be doing some type of community polling as far as some of the games that we're looking at, and see which ones some of the followers and community want to see us play as in the next event that we do, so the community has a say in what we're presenting, as well as various other. We might do some let's plays and a few normal just streams, and just
I'd expect Twitch, twitch.tv/thegameathoners. Forgot about that one. So expect like casual streaming as well, and tons and tons of YouTube content. We have some cool stuff lined up, so it's gonna be tons of fun.
Excellent. Well, thanks for being on, guys.
Well, thanks for inviting us. It was a good time.
Thanks for the invitation.
Well, thank you for listening, and you can come to holdtheline.com if you'd like to hear more about these and other topics. Hopefully you will visit us there and check out all of the news stories available, or you can find this on iTunes under Hold the Line or Jenesee Grey, and also on our RSS feed. So check that out, and I'll see you with more gaming news in the future.